Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Okay. So welcome you all for this session on understanding who's the real boss, from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, what is the topic that is communicated? Personal and impersonal. So that's the first portion of this. So let's offer our gratitude to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, so who is the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and by whose mercy we are able to understand the topics of Bhagavad Gita very easy way. Right? Okay. Prabhuji, you are chanting? No. No, you can remove this one.
Continue this later.
Can. You should continue throughout your life. Okay. ठीक है. So the agenda is the concept of the boss. Is our real boss a person or an impersonal light? And then the further things will be discussed in a later session. So this first 2 points we are going to see, right? So first of all, what is this concept of boss? Generally we think of this word boss. So what actually comes to our mind? Boss, somebody is telling like he is a very bossy person. What does it mean?
People follow his instruction.
People follow his instruction, okay. Any other interpretation of a bossy person? He orders around, He behaves like a boss. Maybe he's a boss or not, we don't know, but then he behaves like one, right? So it is a positive, this one, or negative thing? If somebody says like, no, you are behaving like a boss. Is it a positive thing or negative thing? Huh? Generally, what is the understanding?
People don't like.
Generally, it's a negative word, right? So why are you behaving like a boss? Like that, right? So the general image of boss is like this, very authoritative, very rude, not very pleasing, full of pride and things like that, right? So such a person, so is the general picture of the word boss, So there are many good bosses are there, but then this word boss is generally associated with this. And nowadays, another thing that is going on, everyone wants to be boss. So be your own boss, tired of working for someone else's dreams. A new world awaits you. So it's like, why do people want to become absolute controller or a boss or something like that? So what is the reason people want to become like that?
They can take their own decisions.
They can take their own decisions. They don't need to follow somebody else's orders. So any other thing? Self-respect. Yeah. Anything?
Ego.
Yeah. So it feels very good for the ego, right? So we have a lot of things under control, a lot of people under command and things like that. So it's a very nice this one, There's a constant competition to become boss, So in the career growth, growing up in the ladder and things like that, there is constant competition to become like if somebody becomes a manager and he wants to become a team lead, and then he wants to become a manager, and then he wants to become a division head, and whatnot, further that's how the whole career growth actually happens. So this is something that is there, everybody in the world, if you see a natural, this one is there to be the top, everywhere, it is talked about you should get the first mark, or you should be in the good position, where you can command and things like that. So there is a natural tendency to become a boss, or natural tendency to become the lead, is always there in the material world. So it feels nice to have control over people and things, and being subordinate is not that great. Servant is not a very great word of pride, so people would not appreciate it so much, being a servant. So now, in this context, we are going to study one shloka of Bhagavad Gita. So this is a shloka which is called as the peace formula of Bhagavad Gita. So this is the last shloka of the 5th chapter. So I will recite, please repeat after me. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Nyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Okay, so this has 3 components, and if we know these 3 things, we will become completely peaceful. Nyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Right? So Mam means, like, who is speaking here? This is spoken by Krishna. So he is referring to himself. Like, if somebody knows me, that I am functioning in these 3 capacities, then he will become peaceful. Now, what are the 3 capacities? First is Bhokta. Bhokta means what? Enjoyer. Everything that exists is enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. Right? So he is the original enjoyer of everything that exists. So why he is the enjoyer of everything that exists? Because Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is also the proprietor of everything. Right? So how many of you have entered into a lease agreement or a rental agreement or things like that? How many of you have seen a draft of a rental agreement? Okay, few of you. So in that it would be written that this property is meant for the enjoyment of the owner, and he is letting it out to somebody. So during that period, with some conditions, you can enjoy that property by paying a rent, right? So it is like the owner is the rightful enjoyer of anything that that is there, right? So the Lord says, I am the Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Loka means a place where people can live. All that places that are there, all are owned by the Supreme Lord, and everything, practically like everything that exists, is owned by the Supreme Lord. So to this effect, we have a nice shloka in Ishopanishad. So it says, what is it? It can change everything. Anybody remembers? We have, thanks to mobile phone these days, like we have nice reference, this ones are there. Ishopanishad, it's there in the tip of the tongue, it's not coming. Ishopanishad, first shloka. Okay. Ishavasham idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat hena taktena bunjita magrada kasya suddhanam. Right? So this, it says, everything that exists is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord. And then, all of us, we get a quota of, God's property, for our usage. It's not our own property. We get a quota of our property. And then we should use only our property, and we should not encroach upon somebody else's property, right? So this is the first shloka of Ishopanishad, that talks about. So even how many of you think when you purchase a land, that land completely belongs to you? Is this statement correct? If you purchase a land legally, the land completely belongs to you. Is it right?
No.
Why it is not right?
The government has right to take your land because of some projects.
Yeah. So actually, every piece of land is owned by the government, and they are allowing you to actually use a particular land. And after that, you are given some rights to sell the land and change of ownership and things like that. But then if there is a road widening project, any house that is there, anybody is there, they just widen. They give you some compensation and humko chahiye zameen. Ye hamara zameen hai. So the land belongs to the government, and the land can be taken by the government at any point in time. So it gives the citizens some allowance to stay. no, and earn their livelihood and things like that. So in the same way, in the universal government, if we see, everything that exists belongs to the Lord, and then he gives a quota to the living entity for his own subsistence, right? So, and then Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. So the third part is, he is the best well-wishing friend of all the living entities, right? So somebody knows these three things. What are the three things? Lord is the enjoyer.
Everything belongs to Lord.
Lord is the proprietor of everything that exists. And then? Suhridam. Suhrid means what? The best friend, no? So in the friendship also, like Sanskrit has many different names. So we have Mitra, and we have Bandhu, and we have Suhrid. No, Suhrid is the superlative degree of the usage of this word friend. No, it's like best friend. No, that is called Suhrid. No, very close to heart, right? So like that. So that is, the Lord is telling that he is very close to heart. Is it true? He is very close to heart. Yeah, like Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridudesha Arjuna Tishtati. Like, no, he is situated in the heart of every living entity, no, as Paramatma, right? So in Bhagavad Gita itself it is mentioned. So the Lord is the real Suhrit, real best well-wishing friend, very close to the heart, physically also. He is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart, right? So in this way we see that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything that exists, and naturally, because he is the proprietor, he has the right to enjoy everything that exists, and he is the best well-wishing friend of all the living entities. Right? Somebody who knows these three things, he will have peace. And somebody who challenges these three things, who are they? They are called atheists. So, they cannot live in peace, right? So they cannot live in peace. They are atheists. So somebody who says, I am the proprietor of things that I own. No, I am the proprietor of this mobile, and I am the proprietor of my house. So who is he? He is an atheist. You should say, no, it is Krishna's grace. No, I have been given this particular property, and it is there with me for some time. So that is why devotees generally they use, if they have a notebook, so they put a code word there, ICO, means in care of so and so. It's not that I am the owner of this property. This property is in care of me, at this point in time. Tomorrow it will go somewhere else, right? So that's a conscious way of actually understanding this particular point, so that we are in just care of this particular things that we own. No, we are not the absolute owners of it. We are conditional owners of it, right? So just like anybody who owns a land, they are conditional owners. The government is the absolute owner, and ultimately Krishna is the absolute owner. But when the government is the absolute owner, and then they are allowed to use the property, and when government wants, they can take it back, right? So in the same way, we are not the absolute owner of the things that we have, right? So if we think that we are absolute owners, then we become an atheist, right? And then enjoyer. I am the enjoyer of things that I possess. So no, the Lord is the enjoyer of things that I possess. So in fact, the definition of bhakti is Rishikena, Rishikesa Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate. So Rishikena means this one, using the senses. Rishika means senses, and Rishikesha is the Supreme Lord's name. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam. So using the senses in the service of the master of the senses is called bhakti, Bhakti Ruchyate, right? So bhakti means the legal activity, the proper activity that we can perform. So the owner of everything is the Supreme Lord, and ideally everything should be enjoyed by him, to use everything in his service. Just like an arati performance, it's nothing but all the earth, water, fire, air, ether, the Panchabhuta, symbolically we are offering to the Lord, in the form of the arati performance, right? So that's a very nice, this one. So it's a very, very purifying activity, because rightfully all the objects are used in the service of the Lord, right? So in this way, he is the enjoyer, we are the facilitator in the Lord's enjoyment, right? So that is one thing. So if somebody says I am the absolute enjoyer of things that I have, so then I am an atheist. So then I should not have anything at all. So I have tongue and I have belly, I should not eat, I should not enjoy. So how can I enjoy? It's not about matter of enjoyment, it's matter of sustenance. If I don't eat, I'll die. So what should I do if I have to enjoy? What should I do if I have to enjoy?
Krishna as a center part and
Yeah, so Krishna is not a sadist. No, he gives no allowance. If you want to eat, no, you can take prasad, you can offer whatever I have given, you offer it and then take it as prasad, right? So if you want to have the enjoyment with the opposite sex, then legally get married and then follow the rules and regulations of Grahastha ashram, and then no, you can have that enjoyment, not illegally or not without following the rules and regulations of the ashram, the Grahastha ashram that governs, right? So in this way, all the enjoyment that is needed, or all the ways the senses, senses and sense objects have to come together. So that's the way like we sustain ourselves, and it should be done in a legal way, in a way that the Lord recommends, right? So then it is called a legal enjoyment or a proper enjoyment, right? So without that, if somebody wants to enjoy without following the rules and regulations given by the Supreme Lord, so then he becomes an atheist and he cannot be a peaceful person, right? So that's why, so in the modern days, people say like, no, I've not done anything wrong to anybody. Why there is so much of anxiety for me? Why there is so much of problem and trouble for me? We don't even know like what the rules that govern the place that we live in. So this place that we live in, it is governed by so many rules and regulations. Just a small office that we go, we have so many rules and regulations there. You have to come in this particular time and you have to use, this is your desk and you have to use that, and you have to do this project and stuff like that. So many things are there. And it's just a small organization, a small setup over there. And this whole universe that is there, everybody thinks that like it's just a place to just chill out and no rules and regulations, nothing. And why do many people oppose existence of the God? Because the moment you bring God in the picture, immediately there will be an order of rule and regulation. And who will follow all those things? Better isko hi hata do. Bhagwan pe hata do, like sara problem khatam. No need of following any rules, right? So this is the problem, So like the rules and regulations we need to follow to enjoy. So why? Because we are not the absolute enjoyers, we are dependent enjoyers. Krishna is the original enjoyer, and we are supposed to enjoy according to the rules and regulations and according to the quota that is given to us, right? So then the third point is suhridam sarvabhutanam. So the Lord is the best well-wishing friend of all the living entities. What could be the corollary of it, or what could be this one? If I have to be an atheist, I have to refute this. How can I refute this? If I say I am the best well-wishing friend of all the living entities, then I become an atheist. Is it proper to say like that? Huh? No. But then that's the definition that is there here. Huh? If I say I am the best well-wishing friend of all living entities, I'll become an atheist. What is the problem with this statement? अरे कुछ तो बोलिए ना. Everybody became silent. See, the thing is, the Supreme Lord is the original best well-wishing friend of all the living entities. And if I have to be the friend of some living entity, then I have to be a representative of the Supreme Lord. I have to represent him. Without that, I cannot falsely claim that I am best well-wishing friend of living entities. So now there is so many philanthropic organizations who are trying to save people, right? Who are trying to help people. So, Srila Prabhupada is to give an example. So two brothers were there, elder brother and younger brother. And younger brother was in fever, and he's crying like anything out of pain and things like that. And the elder brother is telling like, you're suffering so much. No, I want to make you happy. What do you want? Tell me. And this younger brother, he doesn't know, like he's telling that you get me ice cream, I'll be happy. And this elder brother is also not too old a boy. And he thinks that, okay, this is the way to please my brother. And then he just brings, he thinks that I am the best well-wishing friend of my younger brother. And he brings ice cream, to the brother who is already suffering from fever. So now how is it? Is it proper? No. He should say that no, our mother is there, she knows what is right. Like you may want something, but she knows what is right, and we should consult her, and we should no, take a proper precaution according to that, right? So then that is real friendship. No, so now when individuals think that if somebody is suffering, oh, I know how to help him, no, or he's in need of this and I have to give this thing. So then what happens? Like this gadbad happens actually. He doesn't know, the person who's suffering doesn't know why he's suffering, know what rules of the universal order he has broken to come to this point of suffering, and the person who's trying to help, no, he doesn't know how to rectify the problem that he has entered into, and he just puts him more into the problem, right? So that's the problem, right? So that's why in ISKCON, if you see, we also distribute food to people, but then we offer the food and then we distribute the food, right? So because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Egya Shishta Shinoshanta Muchante Sarva Kilvishay. So if you offer the food in Egya to the Lord, so then it becomes purified, and then the purified food, no, if you offer to somebody, their karma bandhana becomes destroyed, no? Muchante Sarva Kilvishay. Bhunjante Etve Aham Papam E Pachanti Atma Karanat. So if somebody directly takes, the food, no, so he only eats sin. Right? So now if I just try to feed the poor, no, simply I don't know the rules, like I just simply feed the poor, you're already suffering because of past committed sin, and you just increase the sin over him, right? So it is very important to understand how does the system actually functions, right? So this is how in all our homes, we would have seen during the festivals, people would offer some nice things to the Lord and things like that. Actually, if you dig out the history, your forefathers and things like that, every day there was offering in our Indian culture. Every day, whatever they would consume, they would first offer to the Lord, then only they would consume. So slowly it became reduced, and it became only during some selected days, and then it became only during festival days. And abhi log soch rahe festival mein bhi kyun karna hai, so on festival days nice films and other things and all getting released, we will go there and eat some popcorn and stuff like that. So all the rituals are lost because there is nobody to teach why this is followed. What is the scientific basis behind all these things, right? So anyways, we have taken a good amount of tangent on this topic. So the actual topic is that we were talking about the boss, everybody wants to become the boss, everybody wants to climb up the ladder and things like that. So, and everybody wants to improve, every time. And finally, everything culminates that one day I will become a super boss. But the problem is, the super boss already exists. Right? So nobody can occupy that position, right? So the big boss is already exists, so we cannot become the big boss, right? So now, if God is there and he is the ultimate boss, so whether he is a person or an energy, he's a person or he's a light, or energy, or an impersonal feature without any qualities, or a person with so many wonderful qualities. So, what is the understanding? He's energy. Okay. How many of you say he's energy? Okay. How many of you say he's person? Hey? Energetic person. Who told energetic person? Huh? Who told energetic person? Okay. Nice point. So, so many people are confused. No, you didn't.
He's both.
He's both. Okay. Person and?
Person with energy.
Person with energy. Okay. Oh, that is also nice. Okay. So, this one, a question to people who say he's an energy. Why do you think he's an energy? He's everywhere. So if he's there everywhere, how can he be a person? Right. So person means he has to be there in one place. That's a very nice point. Any other?
He controls everything, so
Generally, a person controls, na?
whole universe. So one person can't. I think energy should be everywhere. It should be scattered.
Okay. So one person cannot control everything. Okay.
Like CCTV, one. He should be having eyes everywhere.
Ah.
He has eyes everywhere. So.
Okay. That's a nice point. Any other this one? Points that is energy?
Energy is eternal, cannot be destroyed.
Okay. Yeah. Newton's third law. So what is the third law of Newton? Energy can never be created nor destroyed. it can only be transformed, right? So something like that. Huh? Huh? This is first law. Okay, sorry, first law. It's been long time. Okay. So, any other reasons why why we should consider him as an energy? Okay. So he's everywhere. So he must be an energy. And then this one, what is that? What is the second point? He controls. So one person possibly cannot control everything. Okay. But then, like we see, like huge organizations controlled by one chairman. Now, he has many managers and things like that. But then he controls. He calls the shots. So still okay. We'll take that point. And any other? What's the third point that was mentioned? He is permanent. No, yeah, it's permanent. We don't.
We can feel,
Huh?
we can feel,
We can feel.
energy, we can
Person we cannot feel.
feel.
You are sitting. I am able to feel you.
Spiritually,
Yeah, at every level we can feel. It's a person. Energy is something that now light is an energy, right? The air is an energy, and
I can't touch.
huh?
Right, I can't, you can see it, but I can't touch.
You can touch, right? So some of the energies is less perceptible, but person can be perceptible, right? So
I think it's a person.
okay,
Because the energy does not have any form. Like,
Okay.
in person, like we can see now that we know how Krishna is there.
okay.
Like we never saw him,
Uh-huh.
but like I heard like from our grandparents, from you, like we know the how he looks. So
Yeah. So there is a nice description of his appearance. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham. So Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham. So Aravinda Dala means like lotus like eyes he has, right? And then Asita Ambuda Sundara Angam. Asita is very new. Ambu means water. Ambuda means like that which gives water. So Asita Ambuda means what gives water? Clouds. So freshly formed clouds. Asita Ambuda Sundarangam. So he has very, very beautiful form, which is of the freshly formed rain clouds, the color of freshly formed rain clouds, like that. So there are many descriptions of forms of the Lord is there. So he must be a person also. Yeah. Any other reason you think he must be a person?
Energy can convert it to a person, or he can convert a person also. Because he is energy. So he
No, both will come later. No, whether he is a person or not. No, we'll just think about that.
somewhere else.
Okay, energy should come. Always we have seen energy has a source. Energy cannot be just generated without a source. No, there must be a source for the energy. Okay, so that is a very nice point. Probably there is a person who's generating energy. That's a good point. Any other point? Why he should be a person?
To establish a relationship with the God, means like he's having a card, so he can establish a relationship with him. That's why he is a person.
Yeah, we cannot establish a relationship with energy. So people have bhakti. Bhakti means what? There needs to be a Bhagavan and Bhakta. And the relationship between both is called as bhakti, right? So, like, how can you have a relationship with an energy, which is there everywhere, and how will you be able to relate with such an entity? Okay, so in that case, we can see, okay, so we can think of the Lord as a person. Any other reason?
he expands
Expand himself.
into different forms like Vishnu. Yeah.
Okay. So expand himself, but we have never seen any person expanding himself. You can expand?
He's God.
Okay, he's gone. Yeah, like from the scriptures we see that great yogis, they can actually expand themselves into multiple forms and they can simultaneously perform different actions. So there are yogis even now, who take part in all the sacred rivers of India, like Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Kaveri, and all those places. And early in the morning they would do. So just by their mystical power, they would expand themselves in multiple forms, and they can actually do. Simultaneously they can dip in many different rivers. Yogis can actually expand themselves. So if a normal yogi can expand, the Yogeshwara, the Supreme Lord, he can, obviously he can expand. Yeah, so he can expand into multiple forms. That's there. Any other reason he should be a person?
Yes, even with scriptures, all the scriptures, like Bhagavad Gita,
Mhm.
that does not have any voice, no? Like,
Sound is also energy, no?
sound is energy, but they don't have the source, no?
Ah. Yeah. So you are a person, you are vibrating sound. So in that way, so a person can actually give out sound. Okay. So those who are telling both, why do you say he is both?
Because he himself has said that he is Akar and Nirakar both. Means like he is not having any form and he is a form. He is in form also. So he is omnipresent also and he is present in some particular place.
Okay. That's nice. What is your point?
Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita, he has said, and Arjun also asked in the Bhakti Yoga chapter that it is better to perform Bhakti for personal form or impersonal form.
So there he says personal form you perform.
Yeah,
Bhakti.
but he says afterwards that those who go into impersonal form also, they also ultimately achieve me.
Okay.
But that part is very accurate.
You have studied those chapters? You have studied the 12th chapter?
Somewhat.
Okay. Or heard some lectures and things like that on that? Okay. That's nice. So, yeah. So, the Lord is an energetic person, no? If a person without any energy, it's generally they tell, Raja without Praja. His namesake Raja, but he doesn't have anybody to follow him. So, generally any powerful person, any big person, so he will have a lot of powers to execute, right? So now, if somebody is a chief minister or a prime minister, so he has a lot of powers, to execute many different things, right? So obviously the supreme ultimate person, so he must have many energies, that is there. In fact, it is mentioned, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Balakriyacha. Right? So he has got so many different energies, and all of these energies are Swabhaviki, very, very he doesn't need to call somebody and you get this thing done for me and stuff like that. No, he just needs to desire and it will get executed. That's how he is so powerful, right? So all his energies, they just function very, very naturally, right? So there is another shloka in this one is there in the Vedic in the Upanishads. It is there. It is mentioned that Ekadesha Sthita Shatnir Jyotsna Vistarina Yatha. So just like Agni is situated in one place, so but then Jyotsna Vistarina Yatha, it expands its jyoti, it expands its light, spread everywhere. So just like this tube light is there in one place, but then it expands its influence. That's illuminating the place, throughout the whole room, right? So in the same way, Ekadesha Sthitash Agni. So one place the Agni is situated, but it is expanding its jyoti everywhere. In the same way, Parasya Brahmana Shakti. So that Parabrahman. So that Supreme Lord, Parasya Brahmana Shakti, Etetam Akilam Jagat. So his energies are spread out throughout the creation, right? So and he is, and how does these energies function? They functions very, very naturally. Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. So these energies function so naturally, so seamlessly. It just doesn't need. He just doesn't need to write some program to execute something, or we have to keep some cron job, to execute the same job again and again, right? Or some macros to write and stuff like that. So he doesn't need to do all these things. He just need to simply desire, and all his energies seamlessly work, right? So that's how he is, right? And so God created mankind in his own image. So this is from one biblical quote. So it is so if man has a form, so that means the God has a form. So that's not just from our scriptures, even from other religion also we can see. And then here comes a very, very important shloka. Now, this is a important shloka to understand in terms of understanding about the God, right? So, this, in fact, the shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the what is it? It has a great philosophical import. No, very tightly packed within this shloka. So let's try to recite this and try to understand this. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti savyate. Okay, so now the shloka is Vadanti. Vadanti means what? Anybody knows what is Vadanti? Huh? Vadanti means to speak. Huh? Rumor. No, it's just to speak. Vadanti. No, Vadanti tat. No, about that. About, no, the discussion is happening is about the Supreme Absolute Truth, who is the ultimate God. So, like, what are different people talking about it? Vadanti tat. No, they are speaking about it. Who are speaking? Tattva Vida. So, one who knows that Tattva, or one who knows the Supreme God, they are speaking. No? So, and what are they speaking? Tattvam yajnanam advayam. So this Supreme Lord is Advaya. So there is no two entities that is there. There is only one entity that is there. Advaya. No, there is no two. So he is Supreme Lord is one without a second. No, there is no second entity that is there. He is one without a second. Right? And that one entity is called as Brahma iti. No, that entity is called as Brahma, or that entity is called as Paramatma iti. Some of the Tattvavidas, some of the realized souls, they call that Supreme Absolute God as Brahman, and some of them they call it as Paramatma, and some of them they call it as Bhagavan. So, is it a contradictory statement? It is Advayam. No, it is one absolute truth. So, but then some of them say they come out with three opinions. So, is it contradictory? Is he Brahman, or is he Paramatma, or is he Bhagavan? No? So that's something to be understood, right? So now we see that this understanding of the absolute truth is also very important. This Tattva Vida, or like one who knows about the Supreme Lord, it's also a very important thing. So how this is, the Supreme Lord is one entity, that is a very important subject matter to be understood. So the Lord says that in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 7.4, Bhumir apa analavaya kammano buddhirevacha ahankaram itiyamme binna prakritir ashtada. So there are 8 elements are there. No, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then he says, this is all my prakriti. Prakriti means energy. No, all of this are my energies, right? And they are 8 in number. So the whole of the material world is composed of this earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So all of the matter, he claims that to be his material energy, right? So binna prakriti ashtada. So then after that he says that the next shloka 7.5 he says apareyam itastvanyam prakritim viddhime param. So apart from these things which are lower in nature, which are my inferior energy, I have a superior energy also. No, prakritim viddhime param, para prakriti. I have a superior energy also. What is that? Jiva bhuta. No, all the living entities, no, all the souls, no, we are all there, we are living entities. All the living entities, the Lord claims them to be his superior energy, right? So ultimately speaking, the Lord is a person and he has innumerable energies. The matter is energy of the Lord and the living entity is also energy of the Lord, right? So he is that one energetic person who has so many energies. Now, how many persons are involved in this whole equation? How many people are there in this whole creation? There is only one person, that is the Supreme Lord exists. And who are we all? We are all energies of the Supreme Lord, right? So we have consciousness because the Supreme Lord has delegated a portion of consciousness to us, so we have consciousness. Otherwise, he is the original absolute consciousness, right? So he is the one person, no? And in this another shloka also that we discussed, Ekadesha Sthita Shagnir, Jyotsna Vistarina Yata. So Agni is situated in one place and it is Jyoti is spread everywhere, right? So now Jyoti contains what? Heat and light, right? So this heat and light, can you describe heat and light without fire? It is not possible to describe heat and light without fire. If there is some heat, immediately like aag lag gaya, so otherwise like heat will not come, right? So in the same way, when we see that energy exists in this world, that means behind that God is there, and that God is the only one person that is there. So now the topic of discussion is that God is the people who know that God, they call him as Brahman, they call him as Paramatma, they call him as Bhagavan, right? So this is very nicely explained with a nice example. So now you see a mountain from a far away distance. How does it appear? Huh? It's like a smooth surface. It's like a green blanket, that is there. And when you go closer to the mountain, you will see that, as you go closer and closer, you will see, that green blanket, is nothing but like there are many trees are there. The details actually emerge out. And if you go even more closer, then what happens? You will get to see if you enter the mountain, you will get to see the living entities who are there, the animals there, and people may be living there and things like that. So as close as you go, that much of clarity you will actually get, to that particular this one. So mountain at a distance looks like a green sheet. When we get closer, we get little more clarity and then of the trees and rocks, and when we enter inside, we can find animals and people living there. In the same way, there is another example that is given, is about the sun. So the sun planet, every planet has a predominating deity. So Srila Prabhupada says, even in Bhagavad Gita also it is there, like Vivasvan Manuve Praha Manurikshvakave Bravit, right? So like Vivasvan is the proprietor of the sun planet, he is called the sun god. And so the sun has a controlling deity, and then sun as a globe, and then sun as its illuminating effect, that is illuminating all the parts of the world. So when in the morning, like if through the window, if some sun rays come, what do you say? Suraj aa gaya. It's not that sun has entered into your house. What will happen if sun enters into your house? Sab kuch bas ho jayega. But then we say like sun has entered, sun has come, right? So even the rays is called as sun. The sun globe is also called as sun, and then the personality who controls the sun planet, he is also called as sun, Surya Dev, right? So like in the same way, we see that three ways we can perceive the sun rays, sun globe, and the presiding deity of the sun, that is Vivasvan, right? So in the same way, the Supreme Lord also can be perceived in the three ways. So the Lord can be understood as the Brahman, so that is the energy, pure energy, and then the Paramatma, the controller, and then the Bhagavan, who has many wonderful qualities, right? So this is the Sat, Chit and Ananda. You have heard about these three components, right? Sat, Chit, Ananda, So Sat means eternity, like what is that? Existential potency of the Lord. And Chit means the knowledge, knowledge and the control potency of the Lord, and Ananda means the blissful aspect of the Lord, right? So Sat aspect, existential aspect. So the Lord is present everywhere. Okay, so if we know only of this aspect, that is called Brahman. If you know, okay, Sat and Chit aspect, the Lord is present everywhere, but he is not just present everywhere, he knows everything and he controls everything, right? So then it is called the Paramatma feature of the Lord. Okay? And then if you say like, okay, the Lord is not just a person who is present everywhere and he knows everything and controls everything, but he is also a lovable person. He has got very wonderful qualities. He is very merciful. There are so many leelas of the Lord, highlighting his mercy aspect of the Lord, right? And then like you can actually call him through prayers. He responds to your calls, right? So it's not like unanswered calls. He responds to your calls. And then he's very beautiful. He's so many wonderful, many amazing qualities of the Lord is there, right? So he's a very grateful person. Even if you do a small thing to him, he remembers forever, right? So in this world, we have seen people like, you do so many things, and one mistake you do, they'll itna gari denge lege, so then it becomes a very bitter relationship, right? So, but the Lord, so many mistakes a living entity may perform. So, but then even if he does one small good thing, he will remember, because he's a very grateful person, right? So like this, there are many wonderful qualities are there. So this is the complete picture of the Lord. He is present everywhere. He knows and controls everything, but he is not just a controller. He is a lovable person, right? So, how many of you have a very good opinion of Hitler? Nobody, right? So he is an absolute controller, no, of Germany during his time. Right? So controller is not that a great thing. Like, God is a controller. Like, to kya hai? How many of you know who is the Chief Minister of Karnataka? Don't tell the name. How many of you know? Okay, some of you don't know also, but still we are living here. कुछ मतलब नहीं हमको, है ना? कोई भी रहने दो, है ना? So like if God were to be a controller like that, then people will be like, no, क्या मतलब है हमको, कोई भी रहने दो, हमारा काम धंधा चलेगा तो ठीक है ना? So in this way we see that Bhagavan feature of the Lord, his merciful nature, his grateful nature, his very pleasing nature. So that is what actually attracts people to the God. No, it is not the God being present everywhere or God being the knower of everything and controller of everything and things like that. Right? So he is also on top of it, he is a lovable person. Right? So he is, with this, it's a complete definition of God. Right? So, okay. Any questions at this point in time? No questions.
Why is that mentioned God? Why not Krishna?
Huh?
In Bhagavad Gita, Supreme Lord, why that mentions Supreme Lord, why not Krishna?
So when Krishna speaks, it is called as Bhagavan Vacha, Supreme Lord speaking. Okay. So whenever the Lord talks about Paramatma, he talks like third person. No, he controls, he does this thing. And whenever it comes about topic of bhakti, he says, Ma'am, no, I am, right? So like when he points to the Bhagavan feature, he uses the first person. I know when he talks about the Paramatma feature, like he speaks about that person, and like a third person. So second person is Arjuna to whom he is speaking. So like he speaks as a third person. And whenever he talks about Brahman, he talks like a neutral entity, like that, like that. So all the three aspects are described in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Person have limitations.
So here, ordinary persons like us, we have limitation, right? So now, what is my limitation? I cannot fly. No, I cannot know everything. Like basically, if all the knowledge that is present in the entire world, if I have to know, is it possible? No. There are some genius people out there who can store much better than us, like who has many amazing capacities. And if you see, like there is always a gradation. There is always a person who knows better than me, right? So if you see in this way, God is a person who knows everything. There is a wonderful definition of God in the first sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says, Janmadhyasya yataha. From whom, he is that person from whom Janma Adi Asya yataha. Janma Adi means Janma, like creation, maintenance and destruction. Right? So Adi, whenever the word Adi comes, it is a list. So in the Sanskrit, the list, anytime there is a list is there, Kamadinam means what? Kamadi means what? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. All of them put together is like, the first item of the list you can just mention and then say, okay, rest of it, like that. So in the same way, Janma Adhyasya yataha. So creation, maintenance and destruction comes from that person, right? Janma Adhyasya yataha. Charteshu abhigna, sorry. I'm sorry, like it's a nice shloka. If I tell in one shot, I'll be able to get, if I break up, I have a little difficulty in remembering. It's the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is Janma Adhyasya yataha. Anvayad itaratas charteshva abhignya swarat. So Abhignya, he knows everything. Everything, how much he knows everything? He knows directly and indirectly. It's like if you see a chairman of a company, like you go to him and you ask him, Do you know what's happening in your company? Yeah, of course. Like, I'm the chairman, I know what's happening in my company. So, okay, what does he mean when he says like what's happening in his company? How much profit happens, how much loss happens, how his company is performing and things like that. If you ask him, what happened in your company on this particular day, in this particular, like building of yours, in that particular floor, in that particular team, what happened over there? I like, no, itla kuch kaun janta hai, So, but then the Lord, he knows everything from bottom up and top down. Everything he knows, right? So he functions as Paramatma. He is present in each and every atom, and he functions as Paramatma of one universe as Garbhadaksha Vishnu, and he functions as Paramatma of entire material creation as Mahavishnu. And then, in this way, like at every level, he is there at various different levels, and he knows all the details of everything that is happening, right? And then another limitation is like we cannot be present simultaneously everywhere. So if I'm present here, I'm not there in my office, I'm not there in my home, right? So, but then the Lord, he can do that thing. He can actually be present everywhere. So that's a limitation. We discussed about a limitation of us. We cannot expand, but a yogi, he can expand into 9 different forms simultaneously. So, and the Yogeshwara, the Supreme Lord, he can expand into unlimited forms. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. He has Anantarupa, right? So he has unlimited forms, right? Simultaneously, he can be there in all the places. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam Purana Purusham Navayavanam. Right? So this is the Vedic statement, which talks about the Lord's limitation. He doesn't have a limitation in terms of the power to expand in multiple places. And if I am giving attention to you, I cannot give attention to another person. That's a limitation. So kitna logon ko main jawab dunga? Like, I have a limitation. But then have you heard about people like Ashtavadani, Satavadani and all? Huh? Huh?
Each 8 works
No, not 8 works. This is actually a Sanskrit ka, this one is there. So, like, if you have to become very scholar in the, like, this Veda Pata, so then, like, if 8 people ask different questions, actually, Shata is like little easier, I suppose. Like 8 is more tougher. This one is there. I have not gone through those levels. So it is like 8 different people ask different questions, and you have to remember all of them, and you have to answer them in sequence. And then 100 different people ask many different things. So simultaneously, if they bombard also, you should be able to remember all of them, and you should be able to respond back. So people are there who contest such things. So there are people who can actually give, their attention span is like quite wide. Still they can actually receive information from different sources, and they can remember from whom the information has come, and they can actually give back the answer to them, right? So there is, to some extent, like some intelligent genius beings, they can actually they can actually expand their attention span. But about the Lord, so it is mentioned that like Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam, Yo Vidadati Kaman. He is one person who can actually cater to unlimited entities. He can actually personally cater to every single person. So that's the capacity of the Lord. So limitation is not there in that sense also. What other limitation could be there? If he has Anantarupa, then he can be present in every place. The limitation of how can a person be present everywhere? So that's gone over there. Any other limitation? Okay. So ultimately now, God is only energy. Who tells God is only energy? Okay. God is only person. Okay, God is energetic person. हाथ तो उठा ही है ना. अरे कुछ लोग अभी भी हाथ नहीं उठा रहे हैं. क्या प्रॉब्लम है? Huh? He is both. Anybody disagree? Anybody don't want to go for any option? ठीक है, like logically it is concluded. So okay. So now we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually mentions Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasyavavasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya ikantikasya cha. So I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable and eternal, and is the constitutional possession of ultimate happiness. So now we see that Brahmanohi Pratishta Aham. So even the Brahman, or the existential factor of the Lord is on the basis of the Supreme Lord, the personal feature of the Lord, right? So it is mentioned that, like in the next sloka, it is mentioned here. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna just mentions about Brahmanohi Pratishta Aham. So the Brahman, the energy, aspect is dependent on me. It is Pratishta Aham. So that he mentions, and how is it is dependent? So generally, this energy is perceived in the form of a white light, right? So Brahma actually offers a prayers to Krishna. So in that he mentions Yasya Prabha. Prabha means what? Huh? Prabha. Prabha. Light. No? Prabha. Yasya Prabha means whose light? No? Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti. So like there are like millions of universe floating in this Brahma Jyoti. No? And what is this Brahma Jyoti is all about? Yasya Prabha. It is his glow, his bodily effulgence is that. Kotes Vashesh Vasudadi Vibhuti Pinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Asesha Bhutam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this Govinda, this Supreme Lord, he has this wonderful glow of his body, and in that glow, in that Brahma Jyoti, millions and millions of planets actually exist, right? So I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of non-differentiated Brahman. Right? So this Yasya Prabha, his Prabha is the Brahman, and mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as individual, infinite, limitless truth, right? So this Brahman is glorified as the supreme absolute truth in the Upanishads, and that Brahman is nothing but the effulgence that actually emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord, right? Okay. Vasudha means what? Anybody knows Vasudha? Earth, right? So Kotish Vashesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Bidnam. Millions of planets are there. Vasudha also called as, the planet also can be called as a Vasudha, right? So like that, many millions of planets are floating in this Brahma Jyoti, and that Brahma Jyoti is nothing but the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so with this we come to the conclusion of today's session. Any discussion on this topic we can have?
Prabhuji specifically mentioned that even living entities are also superior entities of Lord. I have a question like why all human beings not have this say someone have higher abilities and someone have lower abilities. It is not related to karma, right? Everything is not related to karma.
To some it's related to karma. Yeah. So whatever you possess is based on your karma. So that is one way of analysis of karma. Is whatever you have done in the past, accordingly you have got different capacities. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. These are all the results of the past punya that you have performed. Good birth, Aishwarya is good wealth, and Shruta is good intelligence, and Shri is the beauty. So these four things are, this just like blanket umbrella category. These things are the result of past punya, and the inverse of it is the result of the past papa. Like past sinful activities, right? So not good intelligence, manda buddhi. It's the result of past sinful activity. Not very beautiful, the result of past sinful activity, right? So like that. So there is another way of analysis also there of this particular point. In the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually mentions, so Arjuna asked this question, Atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichanapi varshneya baladivani yojita. So he mentions that, I don't want to do something wrong, but as if dragged by force, I am committing something wrong. I know it is wrong. I know I should not be doing, but still, I am as if dragged by force, I am doing this particular thing. Why is it happening? So any of you have the similar question? Huh? Yeah, so like Arjuna has this question. You see, like Bhagavad Gita is quite practical. He has this question, and then Krishna mentions that Kama yesha, Krodha yesha, Rajoguna samudbhava, Mahashana Mahapapma Vidyena Mahavarinam. So there is a Vairina, there is an enemy of yours is there who is actually causing you to act like this. Who is that enemy? Kama, So he mentions Kama, like, no, this is lust is the enemy of yours who is actually not allowing you to function in a proper way. He is forcing you to do things in a wrong way, right? So, and where does this lust sit? Like, this is the last portion of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You can go and see that. So, Krishna mentions that this lust actually is there as a covering, jnanam avrutya. It actually covers the good intelligence of a living entity. So this lust actually covers the good intelligence of a living entity. And Krishna mentions there are three kinds of covering. One covering is like the embryo and the child within the embryo. Another covering is the mirror, covered by the dust. Another covering is the smoke covered by, the fire covered by the smoke, right? So in the fire covered by the smoke, even if smoke is there, still you can identify there is fire beneath. There is some kind of a glow that is coming, and then you can actually perceive the fire beneath the smoke, right? And then mirror covered by dust, so you cannot see the mirror properly. You cannot guaranteedly say that below there is a mirror, but with little bit of effort you can actually dust this one and say, okay, there is a mirror beneath. An embryo within the womb, like bacha, male or female, like अभी तो scan आ गया, like नहीं तो like 9 months wait करना पड़ता, तभी तो पता चलेगा. This is much more stronger covering, right? So in the same way, the intelligence of the living entity is covered, the real quality of the living entity, real quality or power of the soul is covered by this covering of lust, and the degree of covering varies. If the covering is too much, a person may become like tree, like where he is a living entity, but then उसको मारो कुछ effect नहीं है, ऐसे खड़ा है, like if there is a rain, you will run inside and come inside the room, but पेड़ उधर ही खड़ा रहेगा, उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. So he has become so dull, the living entity has become so dull because of too much covering of lust, so he has become a tree, and then when the intelligence, when the covering of lust is less, then he becomes a human being, right? So like that, there is various species of life is there. It is mentioned, Jalaja Navalakshani, Stavara Laksha Vimshati, Krimayo Rudra Sankyaha, Pakshinam Dasa Lakshanam, what is that? Trimshal Lakshani Pasavaha and Chatur Lakshani Manushaha. So like that, there are different, this ones are there, the species, different species are there. It's because of how these different species have come about. Karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmashu. So when we come in contact with the modes of material nature, the modes of the material nature actually covers us, so that is in another way we can say the lust is actually covering, and this covering becomes thicker and thicker. You will have different species of life emerging actually, right? So even within the human beings, there are some people who are quite intelligent, and they are, actually speaking, there are different species, and there are some people like who are of moderate this one and various different capacities and things like that. So it's like there are 4 lakh different species within the human beings. Chatur Lakshani Manusha, right? So there are 4 lakh different varieties of human beings are there, who are ranging from different different parameters at different capacities, right? Like that.
Even in the varieties of the take snakes, there will be superior snake will be there.
Yeah.
Krishna speaks about I am that one. Somewhere speaks.
Yeah, Vasuki. Amongst the snakes, I am Vasuki. Like that.
Something like this. Is it like you said if someone is covered by too much, that he will be tree. We worship Tulsi there.
Yeah.
It's like animal. Less covering is animal. Someone less covering is animal.
So we worship cows. Yeah. See, the thing is, when we are so much covered by the ignorance or the lust or the modes of nature, so then what happens? We cannot actually perceive the Lord. So then the Lord gives a solution. So you cannot perceive the Lord, but unless you come in touch with the Lord, you cannot become purified. So because he is the Pavitram, we have to come in touch with the Lord. So that's why we chant the holy names of the Lord. So it's not different from the Lord. You come in touch with the Lord, you will become purified, right? So in the same way, like when you how to see the Lord in different ways. That's the question that Arjuna actually asks, and Krishna says, okay, I am present in different ways. You can actually rasoham apsu kaunteya. You can actually feel the taste of water. That's very refreshing, and that actually nourishes us, and that taste is I am. No, Krishna mentions. It doesn't mean that he is just that. No, like Prabhasmi Sasishuryaha. No, so like that. No, he mentions different. This ones he actually mentions in the no, I am the pure smell of the earth. No, he mentions Punya Gandha, like that. So in this way, different things he actually mentions to facilitate us to identify in some way we can actually perceive the Lord, no, Lord's presence. And then finally he mentions that Yadyat Vibhutimat Sattvam Srimad Urjavam Yevava. No, like he mentions like how many things I can mention, Arjuna. Anywhere you can see any potency that exists. No, it is because of Mama Tejo Amsa Sambhavam. It is because of Mama Teja Amsha Sambhavam. Sambhavam means it is possible that such power exists there because of my empowerment, right? So through that you can actually see that, oh, this is this one, right? So if suddenly you touch an electronic device, you get shock. What is this one? Whose Teja Amsa Sambhavam it is? It is electricity. The electricity has come there, So now you say like, no, it is, don't touch, like it is, current is there. ये तो मोबाइल है, like इसको क्यों बोल रहे, like don't touch, current is there. No current is there. It is somehow or other empowered by the electricity, right? So in the same way, these personalities, like the Vasuki is best among the snakes, Garuda is the best among the birds. So how they have become best? All of them have the capacity to fly. It is because of Krishna's Tejo Amsa Sambhavam, right? So, like it is because of Krishna's energy, but then best among them, you see like, somebody is best among them. Somebody comes first out of, some examination. Oh, no, Krishna's presence is there. Without his empowerment, he could have not done that, right? So in that way, we can actually perceive the Lord, right? In that way.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Prabhu, is Krishna alive, or in some stories they tell Krishna is eternal, and even there is other story where Krishna is like and then he dies. That story is also there. So what?
If Krishna were to possibly die, nothing can exist in the whole creation.
That story is also there, right?
So yeah, so that is the way in which he actually passes away from this world. So when if you see in that way, like during the battle of Harikshetra, like so many arrows actually pierced the body of Krishna. Chati pe bhi laga, like mate pe bhi laga, sab jagah pe laga. So he didn't die. And like on the toe, means on the fingers of your feet, if somebody like usko kaat ke bhi nikal denge, koi nahi marega actually. But then he just makes a bahana, to leave from the planet. He just makes a pastime like that. And in fact, what happens is when the arrow actually is hit, the Jara, the hunter, actually he comes to the place, and then he is there, and then the Maitreya Muni actually comes, and Vidura also actually not Vidura, Uddhava also actually comes there, and then whole lot of discussion happens for a long time. And then आराम से भगवान निकल रहे हैं. तो जो एथीस्ट होते हैं तो उनको क्या है, लाइक तो तीर लगाना होता है, उसी की वजह से चला गया. So the stories comes like that. So there are many reasons also are there, many Upapuranas, many other pastimes are also there. So why the Lord actually makes that kind of a pastime to leave the planet. And then he actually makes this one of all the different avatars of the Lord actually emanates from him, and then finally he ascends to the spiritual world. So if the Supreme Lord were to be dead, nothing can exist in the whole creation. You might have seen some old movies, like where some demon is living in some big palace, and then somehow or other they go and kill the demon, and the whole palace comes crashing down. Or something like that. You can imagine if the Supreme Lord were to be killed, demons try to kill, Hiranyakashipu tried to kill, like the Nrsingadev. If we possibly could have killed the Lord, he would have also died. Because our existence is dependent on the existence of the Lord, right? So like that.
His God is like birth and death is Divya, right?
Yeah. So his birth and death, we enter because of our karma, and Lord enters because he just have to, just like a criminal enters a jail because committing some mistake, right? and then chief minister or somebody comes inside, they'll just come on their own accord, so थोड़ा foolish criminals बोलेंगे लेकिन ये भी कुछ गलती किया होगा, इसके लिए अंदर आ गया. And then another example given is like mental asylum. Somebody comes to visit there, नया पागल आ गया. So like that. So when the Lord comes, like common people, they think that okay, ये भी एक आदमी है. अभजानन्ति मां मूढ़ा मानुषम तनुम आश्रिता. So like less intelligent people, they think that when I come to perform my pastimes and rescue the people from this world, they think that I am also one among them. So like that.
Prabhuji, why cannot God always present? Why he come and lives? He can stay guide everything.
So actually the thing is, the main problem is, even when Krishna was present, Duryodhana was thinking that he is ordinary person. So like God is always present. So our main problem is we are not able to see him. Why we are not able to see him? Because of the covering of illusory energy of the Lord. Why the Lord, whose energy it is? Illusory energy? Lord's energy. Why is he making us to not to see him through that covering? Because we don't want to see him. If he removes the covering, then we'll have to see him, because there is only one entity that exists in the whole creation, that is the Supreme Lord. How can you miss to see him? There is no way that you can miss to see him. In fact, it is mentioned, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santas Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. So one whose eyes is decorated with the prema or love for the Supreme Lord, such a person is called as a Santa, and Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. He is constantly seeing the darshan of the Lord. Sometimes some reporters come to Srila Prabhupada and they ask like, Swamiji, when did you see God? I'm seeing God every time. No, when did you first see God? Like, no, useless guy. He's asking what kind of question. So it's like, this a sadhu, he actually sees God's presence every time, everywhere. But a conditioned living entity, like we cannot see God every time. Why? Because like we are covered by the modes of nature. And then why we are covered? Because of our desire, right? So when we desire to be away from the Lord, so then there is no place that is away from the Lord. There cannot be anything which is away from the Lord. Because everything is, he is the Param Dhamma. One of the glorification that Arjuna offers to Krishna is Param Dhamma, like what is that? Parabrahma Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, right? So he is the Param Dhamma, he is the supreme resting place of everything that exists, right? So now if we ask a place where he is not there, logically it is not possible. So then Lord says, okay, fine, I'll create an illusion. There is no place where I am not there, but I can create an illusion wherein you can think in this place I am not there. So it is just an illusion, that we say like in this place the God is not there. And so God is there everywhere. So that's this one. Only we are not able to perceive. Now when we have desire, so how do we express our desire? By the way of performance of bhakti. And when we perform bhakti, like God actually reveals himself. He uncovers the Maya, and more he uncovers, more we will be able to see him. Right? Like that. Yes. I'll translate.
So, நம்ம கடவுளை எப்படி நீங்க சொன்னீங்க கடவுளை நான் தினமும் பார்க்கறேன்னு சொல்லுங்க.
Okay, so his question is that if you possibly have darshan of the Lord, then you will go beyond the birth and death. But the sadhus, they are constantly seeing the darshan of the Lord. Then how are they existing here? So why are they taken birth here and things like that? So sometimes some liberated sadhus, Krishna actually sends them. So why he sends them here is because we wanted a space where that space will not be disturbed by God. So like Krishna has agreed upon that proposal and he has made this illusion. So I will not disturb you, you be there in this illusion. So now if God creates an illusion, can anybody come out of it? Can there be any flaw in that illusion? it is a perfect illusion. You can never think of God in that. No, the whole proposition is that I want to be away from him, right? So like no, sab jahan pe like it's too gaudy. Like everything is everything. He is the proprietor. He is the enjoyer. Everything. मैं भी कुछ होना चाहता हूँ. ठीक है, fine. It's okay. Like no, you can also be the king. No, I'll create a universe where illusion will be there, and you can imagine that you are. No, you are the big person, you are the God, and anything you want, you can imagine yourself. And so he creates this, and because of this illusion, we are going through so much of trouble. And like on our own, we cannot break the illusion, and only person who can break the illusion is God, right? And he is bound by the promise saying that no, I will not disturb you. No, I am putting you in the illusion. No, you can enjoy as you like. Right? So now both of them is a deadlock situation. Right? And then the Lord says, fine, no, I'll send my devotees. No, he sends his devotees. That's how the great acharyas actually come into this world. He sends his devotees, and the devotee's job is to convince people, hey, like no, you have forgotten him. No, you just surrender to him, you just call to him again. So he is very, very merciful. He's always eager to actually rescue you and save you. He can actually remove this illusion, and you can actually have his darshan, and you can go back to the spiritual world. So that's what is the purpose for which the sadhus actually come, on the request of the Lord, out of compassion to the living entities. He's not able to help. The God is not able to help himself. So he sends his devotees. And then devotee's job is to convince the living entities. You just call to him. The rest of the job he will take care. My job is also finished, right? So his job is to just connect the living entity to the God, right? And for this thankless task, so we actually worship the acharyas. Why do we worship Srila Prabhupada's Murti? So because this is a very thankless task, to come to this material world to give this knowledge to all of us, right? That's how the great sadhus they come. Yes, Prabhu.
We here at ISKCON, we worship the personal form of the Lord, right? So, like, what is the way to worship the impersonal form?
Impersonal form, worshipping is quite difficult.
Yeah. What are the steps?
Steps is you have to imagine quite a lot of things. So that's when it is possible. And even the worship of impersonalist form, so they also do Panchopasana. So like worship of Vishnu, Shiva, then Surya, then Devi, then Ganesha. So they do Panchopasana. And then they think like the hardcore people like who tell that no, there is no way of worshipping the person. There is no personality exists, only energy exists. Even for them to conceive of a worship of energy is quite difficult. So they say that initially you worship all these personalities, later on we can come to the point of understanding that it is only energy, right? So it's quite difficult. So that is why it is mentioned avyakta hi gatar dukkham dehavapyate. So like the worship of avyakta, the vyakti means a person, avyakta like means there is no personality. So avyakta hi gatar dukkham. So it's quite troublesome to worship the impersonal feature of the Lord.
Also, why is chanting considered to be like worship in personal form? Because chanting is like sound, and we just have to hear the sound.
So this is a big misconception actually. So chanting is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So now, for example, how do we actually understand? So now, if I meet a person, I can touch the person, I can hear the person, I can see the person, right? So I can, all my senses can get gratified. So Krishna, he has the best of the beauty. His form is the best of the beauty, right? So by seeing him, our eyes will become completely pleased. And his form, the touch of his form is like butter. It's like if you touch him, like it is your hand is going inside. So soft and things like that. So and his smell, his bodily smell is also quite amazing, and his sound vibration, his flute sound vibration and things like that is quite amazing. In the same way, when you are chanting the names of the Lord, when you actually focus on the names of the Lord nicely, and then you're able to hear the names of the Lord nicely with prayer, with a prayer that, oh Lord, I know that you are present in the sound vibration, so you please reveal yourself unto me, right? So with a nice prayer, I'm trying to actually be your nice devotee, and I'm just seeking your presence. Please reveal yourself unto me. And in this way, like when we offer prayer, and we have an experience of the Lord. When the Lord actually gives you an experience of himself in the form of sound vibration, then you will feel that your eyes, nose, tongue, skin, everything is fully satisfied. So that experience you can actually have. So it is mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. It is actually one of the acharyas actually glorify the holy name. He says that in the glorification, he says, no sarvendriyanam kritim. It is. He said, I'm just chanting these names of the Lord. So these names of the Lord have just emanated from my mouth, and it has entered into my ears, and then slowly, gradually, sarva indriyanam kritim. It has conquered over all my senses, and it has just established itself as the master of the whole system. Right? So that feeling actually we can actually have that this one. So in that way we can understand that this is not just an energy, it is a person. If it is not a person, how can it satisfy all our senses? Right? So that experience, it can only be got by experience. We can say, like, in a theory class, the gulab jamun is so sweet and things like that and all, but the practical, you have to put inside the mouth and taste, then only we'll be able to have a taste of it. In the same way, when we apply ourselves nicely to the process of chanting, you will have deeper and deeper realizations. You will have more and more uncovering of the Lord, right? So, like Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, this is the way of actually having darshan of the Lord. So first darshan of the Lord is Nama, clear audible hearing of the names of the Lord, right? And after that, the Rupa, we will be able to appreciate the form of the Lord, and then we will be able to appreciate the Guna, the qualities of the Lord, and then we will be able to appreciate the Leela aspect of the Lord, right? So the Leela of the Lord is a PhD subject, it's the last subject, so that we come up to. So that's to understand them and to properly relish them. It takes a lot actually. So the first darshan that everybody is supposed to have is by the way of the names of the Lord, right? So clear audible hearing of the names of the Lord when you chant. Okay. Any other question?
Probably how true is a demigod possessing our body?
Demigod possessing the body.
Because there's a recent movie, people might think it's, I don't know, is that true? Like,
See, generally what happens is, there are different spirits that are there who actually possess a living entity. So technically speaking, none of you are afraid of ghosts, right? I can speak about that, no? Abhi raat ka time bhi ho gaya, like, in one class I started speaking about ghosts. One devotee got up and ran away. He might have got some trauma in the past. So ghosts are nothing but living entities with subtle body. They have lost their gross body and they are not able to get another gross body, and they are left like that. So because of punishment, they have untimely given up their gross body. So out of punishment, they are not given the gross body. So they are given, subtle body is there. Like when you break the subtle body, you are liberated. You will go back to the spiritual world, right? So breaking of subtle body is called as a liberation. That is not possible easily. So but breaking of gross body is possible. You just commit suicide. So gross body chala gaya. So then after that, what remains is subtle body. And subtle body, is more pathetic situation. Ghosts are the most pathetic people. So they like nice gulab jamun, they like nice feast, they like so many things of this world. So dekh sakte hai kuch, they can see but they cannot enjoy. How will it be? Imagine a situation, your hands and legs are tied, and your mouth is also stuffed with this one. Like I've just seen in the movies, like how they do this. So they completely tie you up, and then they show nice things in front of you, and then like you tied me up first of all. Kyun aisa, like mirchi dal raha, wound mein, like, so there is, why are you not taunting me like this? So in this way, the ghost's life is so miserable. They can see all that they want to enjoy, but they cannot enjoy anything. How? Because to enjoy, they need to have a body. Gross body is needed to enjoy the things of this world. So then they try to enter into somebody else's body, and try to access the sense objects. And even there is a competition. There is original owner of the body sitting inside, and this ghost has enter inside. two personalities are there inside, and for the same resource. It's quite, quite a difficult this one. The person, it's as much as the trouble the person is going through, the haunted person, the similar kind of trouble the ghost is also going through. Uska bhi, he is not getting absolute ownership of that body. So it's quite a miserable kind of an existence, the ghost's existence is. And there are some good spirits are there, there are some higher spirits are there. I'm not sure the demigods actually coming into the body of, I have also seen practically.
My dad's people, they worship the Taiwan. They were actually, it's from generations, past generations. They worship the.
There are some good spirits also. Good spirits means they can, get some material things done. Like they have some powers like that. So they can possess somebody, or they can, award something to somebody and things like that and all. So it's like, we as devotees, we are not so much afraid of ghosts. Like, because when we chant the names of the Lord, these ghosts and all, we can drive away. But then if a Brahmana, he commits a suicide, he'll become a Brahma Rakshasa. To him, like, this normal things will not work. He can slap a devotee also. Right? So the Brahma Rakshasa has more power. So because he was a Brahmana who committed a suicide. Like that. There are some spirits who are powerful, who cannot be like just warded off by some simple methodologies and things like that. You also should be a very powerful devotee. You also should be a very advanced devotee to ward off such ghosts. So like that. So there are different kinds of spirits are there. So we endowed with different powers actually, and they can do something material at the max. Okay. So that's why we should advance in devotional service. What is the sign of advancement? We become more deeper in the practice of chanting of Hare Krishna, and we get more and more revelation of the Lord, and more the material covering is removed, and more you are able to have darshan of the Lord. So to that much, you are powerful. Because power is coming from the Lord. You are like powered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that. Yes. Any other question? Okay, so we will chant now. Live, you can close the live. Hare Krishna.